Trust me.
He was bored, so he did the only logical thing, which was injecting his sperm into an egg to create life, and it didn't end well.
Trust me.
He was bored, so he did the only logical thing, which was injecting his sperm into an egg to create life, and it didn't end well. The first homunculus that the alchemist managed to create after failing dozens of times spat acid at him, so he had—
When did you have to choose between two lives?
Trying KFC for the 4th time. Bro, I swear if this tastes like buns, I'm never eating.
The little girl was astonished to find that her mother would remarry once every month. But every time after getting married, the bridegroom would age rapidly. At most, they would die suddenly within 3 days. However, every time, the woman acted as if nothing had happened, and continued to marry the next man, and her appearance became more and more beautiful, and her figure became even plumper. In the blink of an eye, 10 years passed, and the little girl grew up. Her mother had already found 99 stepfathers for her. However, without exception, all of them died of aging. What puzzled her was that, even though her mother's reputation of being a man-killer had already spread far and wide in the neighboring villages, the men in the village still rushed to propose marriage. And these people, in order to marry her mother, even bribed her daughter with a large sum of money.
This is a psychopath riddle. If you know the answer,
As soon as the old man checked his whole card, the woman beside him signaled the rank of this card to the other gamblers. So the old man pretended to be drunk. He asked the young man who was reading a newspaper to play cards for him. The young man said it was his first time to play cards and he didn't know the rules, so he bet all his money. The others thought the young man had a big hand, so they all discarded their own cards one after another. But when the young man revealed his whole card, everyone found that his card was actually the smallest. After the second round of the gambling game started, both the young man and another uncle got very good cards. Just then, one of the gamblers signaled the woman to peek at the young man's cards, but the old man's son blocked the woman's eyes with cigarette ash, so she didn't clearly see the young man's whole card. The gambler didn't know what cards the young man had in his hand, and he had to discard his own cards. However, another gambler thought that the young man was bluffing again, and he decided to bet all his chips. He revealed 2 aces and a king, thinking he was sure to win. Unexpectedly, the young man had 3 twos, and his hand was bigger. The gambler was so angry that he fainted. As soon as the old man— Have you ever seen someone die in such a horrific way? He not only died in a stinky bathroom, but the cause of death was food poisoning. In other words, the killer forced the victim to eat something from the bathroom, which led to his poisoning. Conan felt puzzled by this because the victim had gone to the bathroom alone. So, how did the killer manage to do it? At this point, the village chief suggested that the victim had committed suicide, but Conan disagreed, because he was a clean freak and wouldn't have died in a toilet. The police then found a wet wipe next to the victim, and tests showed that the wet wipe had a very high acidity level. Conan recalled that when they discovered the body, there had been a cyanide smell in the bathroom, and the victim had been foaming at the mouth. This led Conan to realize that the victim had indeed been poisoned, and the cause of death was cyanide. Cyanide itself is not toxic, but when it reacts with acidic substances, it releases toxic gas. The killer had likely introduced cyanide into the bathroom beforehand and added hydrochloric acid to the victim's wet wipe. When the victim threw the wet wipe into the toilet, the toxic gas would be released. Therefore, the village chief, who knew about the victim's habit of carrying wet wipes, became the prime suspect. In the end, with solid evidence, the killer chose to confess. The motive for the murder was that the victim's actions could have led to the village chief losing his position. Have you ever seen someone—
Here's what to do if you win the lottery. I won! I'm gonna buy a yacht. No, 2 yachts. And not if you lose that ticket or someone steals it, which is why you should first sign it so no one else can cash it in.
Why doesn't Invincible have a mustache? Well, all male Viltrumites have mustaches as a symbol of power, and they usually grow in around a certain age. However, Mark is still pretty young in the show. In the comics, even after 500 years, he still doesn't have a mustache. This is because he refuses to associate with the Viltrumites and rejects their ideology.
I got the worst loadout gold in Roblox Rivals. So I first started off with the bow, and at first I was trash with it.
So these are 5 Roblox Rivals facts that you did not know. For number 5, it actually takes 4,450 keys to buy every single weapon inside of the shop without the bundles. That's about 20,000 Robux. And for number 4, I actually asked the developer of the game, how long did it take to make Rivals? And he said actual development time spent on Rivals took 5 to 6 months. About a half a year, and they literally made the best game on Roblox. For number 3, I asked them what their favorite map was, and they actually said construction, which is kind of interesting. For number 2, I asked them their least favorite map. And of course, they said Onyx. Let's be honest, bro. Nobody likes that map. And last but not least, for the last fact, I asked, how much Robux do you currently have? And he said at least 5 Robux. Probably 5 billion, to be honest.
These puzzles. After many years of military service, the regiment commander was finally able to return home to visit his family, but he couldn't find his house. Fortunately, the village head still recognized him. It turned out that the man's wife had moved just half a year ago. She had invested in a few stocks and earned millions in a short period of time. Now, his wife and son were living in a mansion in the affluent neighborhood. Guided by the village head, the man finally found the affluent neighborhood and began searching for his home by checking door plate numbers one by one. A boy called out to him. To his surprise, despite years of separation, his son recognized him at first sight. It was because all the men living in this neighborhood liked to wear suits, and the regiment commander was the only one in military uniform. His son told him that his mother was on her way to pick him up, and they must have taken different routes. When the wife saw her husband, she was thrilled and prepared a table full of
Come on, what do we start with? You know, innocent.
Sure about this, Granny?
I'm going old school on his butt.
Whoa.
Come on. Stop. Tick-tock.
She is the one.
What in the AARP is going on out here?
I've got hops.
Hold it. I think I might be the best polygon arena.
This man is incredibly unfortunate. His son was killed by a drunk driver. However, the drunk driver was found not guilty because the judge believed he committed the crime while intoxicated and showed sincere remorse. As a result, he was released on the spot. This verdict completely shattered the boy's father. In a quest for revenge, the father went out that same night, got drunk, and killed the drunk driver with a metal rod. He thought that, like the driver, he would be found not guilty for killing someone while intoxicated. But to his shock, this time the judge sentenced him to death, which is truly tragic. Fortunately, the man's lawyer is the renowned Eri Kisaki. However, the man refuses to cooperate with her, insisting on taking full responsibility for the murder and revealing no details. Desperate for answers, Eri turns to the man's wife, but she is also unwilling to share any information. Through the autopsy report, Conan discovers that the victim had octopus in his stomach, which came from the wife's restaurant. This revelation leads Conan to realize that the victim was killed while eating octopus at her restaurant, and the wife took the opportunity to murder him. The husband, feeling that it would be better for him to take the fall than let his wife go to prison, decided to protect her. In the end, with the evidence stacking up against her, the woman chooses to confess. It's a truly heartbreaking situation.
This is GTA 5's rare.
I can't take it anymore, Joker. Put me out of my misery. There's nothing more you can do to me except take away my sanity.
Now that sounds like fun!
No! Sanity is all I have left.
This looks promising.
An organized mind is a disciplined mind, Joker. And a disciplined mind is a powerful mind.
What is this place?
It's your worst nightmare. A world where Batman doesn't exist. Without Batman, the police are overwhelmed. Crime is rampant.
My kind of town.
But you have no one to match wits with. No symbol of goodness to corrupt. Without Batman, there can be no Joker. No loose screws. No lost marbles. No bats in your belfry. In this world, you're perfectly safe.
No!
You have no power here.
I'll give it all up. I can't be average.
Batman, can you undo the mess Joker made?
Sure, Batman. What did the Joker see in there?
Only what I wanted him to.
On this day, 3 people came to take pictures. When they were about to take pictures, the woman asked the boss to bring another chair. Looking at the chair, the girl's hand was hanging in the air. The boss sighed, thinking that the man of the house must have passed away.
What's the funniest way someone got called out for being a total fraud? We were in the middle of an argument when my dad claimed that technology has made people weak. Back in my day, we had to actually use our brains. Then he took it even further. I could live without technology. It's not even that important. Oh, really? We were in a place we'd never been before. So I saw the perfect opportunity. I bet him $30 that he couldn't drive home without GPS. And this man, he smirked, cracked his knuckles, and said, easiest money of my life. 5 minutes later, we were already lost. Like, deeply lost. We were driving in circles, turning down random streets, and my dad was squinting at every street sign like one of them was going to magically say, home this way. At one point, he slowed down and went, oh, this looks familiar. It did not. It was a completely different city. I was trying to hold in my laughter, but then I saw it. I caught him glancing down at his phone. At first, I thought he was just checking a message. Then I saw the blue GPS route on his screen. He was cheating. We finally pulled into the driveway, and he turned to me grinning. All right, pay up. That was too easy. I smiled. So, how was Google Maps? His entire soul left his body. He froze. Looked at my mom, looked at me, then hit me with, I don't know what you're talking about. Sir, I told him I saw him cheating, and my mom—
The man first day on the job site. Once he touches the bricks on the pavement, he knew what kind of material they were made of. He asked the workers about the price. He went home and started making them. The next day the man took his bricks to the governor. Seeing that his bricks were of good quality and cheap, the governor decided to change his supplier. The construction site manager was also satisfied with the bricks. He was ready to add another 100,000 bricks and asked for a shipment within 5 days. This is difficult for the man because all his bricks are handmade. He could only produce 2,000 bricks a day, so he called all his friends and family to help him. With this big order, the man made a lot of money and his reputation grew. Even city next door wanted to buy them, but the supply of bricks exceeded the demand. So the man wanted to bring in some machines from the market, but the price was too high. He couldn't afford it. The governor heard him say that. He decided to give him a loan in the name of the government and give him a bigger site to set up a factory. The man also successfully changed.
How much money do you make?
$70,000 a year. I make $100,000 less than she does.
And you brought him to court?
Yes.
For child support?
Yes, ma'am. But again, I pay for pretty much everything.
The female lawyer is very smart. First, she adjusted several drawers in the cabinet to create a contoured shape, and then she hid inside the cabinet. By using this method, she successfully avoided capture by the criminals. These criminals weren't after money or looking to kill anyone. Instead, they wanted to strip the woman of her clothes to humiliate her. They targeted this lawyer because she was the one who had successfully prosecuted them, leading to their 10-year prison sentences. Now that they were out, they sought revenge. At that moment, the woman used her phone to call for help from her daughter. Conan, through their phone conversation, figured out her approximate location. So, Kagaro Mori rushed to the kidnapping scene. However, one of the criminals pulled out a stun gun, preparing to forcibly remove the woman's clothing. Kagoro Mori intervened just in time and used his fighting skills to subdue him. The other criminals were also taken down by Ran Mori. In the end, the woman was curious about how Kagoro Mori had entered through the window, especially since they were on the 4th floor and he had a fear of heights. It turned out that he had overcome his fear and climbed the drain pipe without any safety gear. Female lawyer is very—
3 things leak.
I present you with a game I call the no-win situation. Press the blue button and you save Mr. Pennyworth, but reveal your secret identity. Press the red button and you protect your identity, but lose your dear friend. Because when this hourglass empties, you forfeit both.
Gotham needs the Batman more than you need a butler, sir.
I've made my choice. None of the above.
How very predictable. So, Bruce Wayne, you no longer need to hide behind this. But the true key to the puzzle was deducing who of the remaining candidates had motive to become the Batman. Bruce Wayne, son of the late Thomas and Martha Wayne.
You have all the answers, Dave. Except one. Every great supervillain has an origin, too. What's yours?
Fell into a chemical bath.
That's Joker.
A cryogenic mishap. No, I lost my family fortune.
Freeze, Penguin. You can't remember your origin because it doesn't exist. You're a computer program. You may not have a beginning, but now you have an end.
No! I present you with a game
Why does Timmy Turner's dad hate Dinkelberg? Mr. Turner and his neighbor Dinkelberg have the most iconic cartoon rivalry in history, but it's definitely one-sided. Dinkelberg has no problem with Mr. Turner, but Mr. Turner hates everything about Dinkelberg. So why is this? Well, we have to go all the way back to Mr. Turner's childhood, which we can see thanks to the one episode where Timmy traveled back in time. And to get her attention, he won a marathon for her. However, she still didn't want to date him. Instead, she dated another man all throughout high school and college. But the man struck gold when he invented the parachute pants that took off, and he immediately left her when he got a taste of the rich life. And so Timmy's mom started crying. But who was there to wipe up her tears and steal her heart? Timmy's dad, Mr. Turner. But who was the man that broke Timmy's mom's heart? Sheldon Dinkelberg. And that is why Mr. Turner will forever prey on the downfall of his neighbor, Dinkel.
This is me. The genius chef just tasted the broth on the pork chops and decided that the dish was a success and didn't need any other additions. But his teammates didn't think so. So the man reaches out to stop him and burns his hand on the sauce. Looking at the spilled spilled sauce. His teammates blame the man for being a nuisance and say he's going to lose the chef competition. It soon came to the time for the judges to evaluate. They tried each of the contestants' specialties and gave them high marks. In their eyes, they may have already booked the chef in front of them as the winner. Then they approached the man's team of chefs. Looking at the uninspired pork chops, two of the judges immediately started to dislike them. But the dark-haired judge decided to taste it. To one's surprise, after tasting, she immediately announced that the man's team had won the championship. In the evening, when the black-haired judge left work, she smelled an aroma. It turned out that the man was using the leftover ingredients from the competition to make a midnight snack. He sincerely invited the black-haired judge to taste it. The woman thought the snack would taste ordinary, but after tasting it, she found that the man's championship was well-deserved. Genius chef this is an extremely cruel man who burned his own brother alive in a bonfire. The man was so ruthless because his brother had purchased an insurance policy worth 500 million yuan to obtain the high compensation. The man resorted to this brutal method to kill his brother. Although everyone suspected him of being the murderer, the police had not been able to arrest him due to a lack of evidence. It turned out that the man had spent 500,000 yuan to hire Kagoro Mori to follow his brother for 3 days, tracking him until Saturday night. However, during that time, the man had actually been traveling out of town with a solid alibi. Suddenly, Conan, while reviewing a photo Kagoro Mori had taken while following the deceased, noticed a shocking detail. The deceased in the photo was left-handed. Conan then realized that, in reality, the man had killed the deceased before going on his trip. He chose to burn the body to cover up the real time of death. Additionally, the man had hired someone who resembled the deceased to impersonate him and arranged for Kagoro Mori to follow this impersonator for 3 days, creating the illusion that the deceased had been burned to death on Sunday. However, the deceased was right-handed, while the person in the photo was left-handed. This inconsistency became the decisive evidence, leading to the successful arrest of the perpetrator by the police. This is an extreme...
Have you finished honing the sword that I left with you? Yep.
Hold it, Superman! What's going on?
See for yourself.
What is it?
Mankind's only hope.
What's he doing here?
The invasion. I came to warn you, but I was captured and imprisoned here. They wouldn't listen.
Big surprise.
I sense you do not trust me. Perhaps this will help. I am John Jones.
Don't take it personally, John. He doesn't trust anyone.
A wise policy.
Stop right there, Superman. You're trespassing in a restricted area. Our orders are to keep that freak here.
Wait, I'll vouch for him. You must let us go.
I don't think so.
The world's security may be at stake.
That's why he'll never leave here alive.
Behind you! Hang on! Get him to safety.
This is an advanced cosmetic.
We've been on lockdown at our school for 13 days straight. If we leave our classroom, our teacher will eat us out clean. It started like a normal lockdown drill. Principal's voice crackling over the intercom, telling us to stay in our rooms, lock the doors, and be quiet. At first, nobody questioned it. We sat in our usual spots, whispering jokes about some psycho outside with a weapon. Just another day in high school. But the announcement never came to say it was over. By day 3, the hallways were still silent. No police sirens. No parents banging on the doors to get us out. No explanation. Our teacher, Mrs. Whitmore, kept us calm at first. She handed out the granola bars from her drawer and let us ration our water bottles. Told us the school was handling it. But by day 5, we were starving. Someone tried to leave. Ethan, the guy who sits by the window, cracked open the door just a little, just to peek. Mrs. Whitmore moved fast. Too fast. Before any of us could react, she grabbed him, yanked him back inside, and slammed the door shut. Then she bit him. No hesitation, no warning. Teeth straight into his shoulder like she'd been starving for years. Not just days. We screamed. We tried to pull her off, but she was stronger than she looked. She finished Ethan clean. No scraps left, no bones. Just a smear of blood and a horrible, wet chewing sound that haunted us long after she swallowed the last bite. By day 8, we stopped trying to leave. By day 10, she started eyeing us differently. By day 12, we knew. She wasn't keeping us safe from whatever was outside. We were the lockdown, and we were running out of time. We've been on lockdown at our school for 13 days straight. If we leave our classroom, our teacher will eat us out clean.
Dark fantasy.
Cookies for the first time. He ate 3 of them. Just as he was about to fill up with water, the instructor stopped him. The instructor said there was a limit to the amount of water he could drink each day.
Ever wondered how insane...
Everybody is talking.
These puzzles...
Turn off my internet? Alright, no more gaming for you. My ex hasn't taken our breakup well since I ended it in
Every teacher in the school abused this boy to do all their work, like cleaning the school and doing massages. In the name of food, they feed him trash. Even with all these harsh conditions, he was still able to top in exams. Because some people were not happy seeing a boy like him topping the exam, he got accused of cheating and ordered to give exams again. But this teacher wasn't happy with the test retake decision as he already knew that Donald will top again. He was confused about what to do, but then he receives a call that Donald's mother has passed away in the hospital. He didn't tell Donald about that for 2 days.